Hello, and welcome back. It's good to have you here again. Today I want to hand you 14 ways to garden for next to nothing. No gadgets, no shopping list, no clever little product I'm quietly hoping you'll go and buy. Just 14 honest, low-cost ideas you can put to work with things most of us already have sitting around the house or the yard. Let me be straight with you before we start. Some of these are rock solid. They've got good reasoning behind them, and I'd happily stake my own beds on them. A couple of the others are more what I'd call worth a try. They're cheap enough that there's no harm in testing them, but I'm not going to promise you the earth. I'll tell you which is which as we go along, because I'd sooner you trusted me than be dazzled by me. And there's only one thing I'll ask of you. Don't try to do all 14 at once. Pick the one that suits your patch this week and start there. That's the whole idea. Right, let's get into it. The first one is the humblest thing on the list, and I still use it constantly. Plant labels made from old yogurt tubs, cream pots, and ice cream containers. You wash them out, cut the sides into strips about 3/4 of an inch wide, and there's your label. Write on the blank side and push it into the soil next to whatever you've sown. Now, one honest word here, because I've been caught out by this myself. An ordinary ballpoint or a pencil will fade to nothing after a few weeks in strong sun. If you want these to last a season, or several seasons, use a proper permanent marker or an oil-based paint pen. With that, they'll keep going far longer than you'd expect, indoors or out. It's a tiny thing, but it saves you buying labels every spring, and it keeps a little more plastic out of the bin. Number 2 is one of the most satisfying ways I know to grow potatoes, and it saves your back into the bargain. Instead of digging trenches, you lay your seed potatoes right on the surface of a bed, or just barely nestled in, and then you cover them thickly with mulch. Straw, old hay, fallen autumn leaves, even wood chips will do. As the shoots push up through that mulch, you keep adding more on top of them, the same way you'd hill up soil in the traditional method. The reason you keep covering them is to keep the developing potatoes in the dark, because any tuber that sees daylight turns green, and green potatoes aren't good to eat. When do you harvest? You can slip your hand in and pull a few early tender ones as the plants come into flower. For the main crop, you wait until the foliage starts to die back, which is usually a couple of weeks or so after flowering, and then you simply pull the mulch aside and pick the potatoes up off the ground. No digging, and they come up remarkably clean. Now I owe you 2 cautions on that one, because it isn't magic. First, mulch like this does tend to attract slugs, and the plants can be a little more exposed to frost and wind than they'd be under soil, so it suits some seasons better than others. And second, this matters. Use straw or hay that you know hasn't been sprayed. Some straw carries herbicide residue that survives right through the growing season, and it can genuinely damage or kill your crop. If you can't vouch for it, don't use it. Leaves or wood chip from a source you trust are safer bets. The third hack is for anyone plagued by slugs, and this is one of those try it and see ones I promise to be honest about. When you're clearing blackberry canes or any other thorny cane, don't just burn the lot. Cut them into lengths of about a foot and lay them like a low, prickly little fence around your most prized seedlings. You can stack 2 or 3 canes for a bit more of a barrier. Now, will it stop every slug? No. And I'll level with you. The evidence here is mostly gardeners' own experience rather than proper trials, so treat it as one layer of defense among several rather than a cure. But it costs you nothing. It makes use of prunings you were going to get rid of anyway, and around a few precious plants, I've found it does make a difference. Number 4 isn't a gadget at all. It's just a habit, and it's a good one. Whenever you can, time your sowing and your transplanting for just before a good spell of steady rain. If you get your seeds in the ground or your seedlings settled and then let a soaking rain do the watering for you, you save yourself the job and you save whatever water you've got stored. It's simple and it works beautifully, with one caveat: it depends on you actually getting reliable rain. If your summers run hot and dry, you'll still need to water, so read your own climate rather than following a calendar. But watch the forecast and let the weather do some of your work. The 5th one turns a free find into useful kit. Wooden pallets, which you can often pick up for nothing outside shops, yards or clubs, make excellent deep seed trays, and they're plastic free. You break them down, build a simple frame, and nail planks across the base. You can make the trays as large as you like. Here's the safety part, and please don't skip it. Only use pallets stamped with the letters HT, which stands for heat treated. Those have been treated with heat alone and are safe to reuse. Steer clear of any stamped MB, because that stands for methyl bromide, a chemical treatment you don't want anywhere near your food. And give any pallet a miss if it's stained, oily, or you just can't tell what it's carried. When in doubt, leave it. Number 6 is for getting nice, straight rows without buying a thing. If you struggle to draw a straight, even seed drill, cut a length of bamboo, or use an old broom handle, just a touch shorter than the width of your bed. Lay it across the soil, press it down firmly to the depth you want, and lift it off. There's your perfectly straight furrow, all at the same depth, which helps your seeds come up evenly. If you'd rather, you can stretch a length of string between 2 sticks pushed in at each end of the bed, and sew along that line instead. Either way, it's tidier than freehand, and it costs nothing but a minute of your time. The 7th hack genuinely changed how I raise a lot of my plants, and this one's well-founded. It's multi-sowing, a method the grower Charles Dowding did a great deal to popularize. Instead of one seed to a module, you sow a small cluster, and you plant the whole clump out together. As they grow, they gently push each other apart and share the space. The benefits are real. You grow more plants in less propagating room, you use less potting mix, and you save time both sowing and planting out. The trick is getting the numbers right, and this is where I gently correct the usual advice. For beetroot, aim for about 4 seeds to a module. For radish or turnip, 4 or 5. Onions can take more, say 6. But go easy, especially with root crops, because if you crowd too many together, you get plenty of leaf and disappointingly small roots. Sown sensibly though, it's a lovely way to get a lot of early salad and roots from very little. Number 8 makes free pots out of your recycling, and it's especially good for peas and beans. Cardboard tubes, the kind left over from toilet rolls or kitchen towel, make fine biodegradable pots. You fill them with potting mix, sow your pea or bean, and when it's time to plant out, you set the whole tube straight into the ground. The cardboard breaks down, and because you're not disturbing the roots, the plant barely notices the move. One practical tip: stand the tubes upright in an old tray or tub so the mix doesn't spill out of the bottom. And keep an eye on damp, because a soggy cardboard tube can go moldy if it sits too wet for too long. So plant them out before the roots start circling round and round. The 9th is a close cousin of that, and it's one of my favorites for peas. Take a length of old rain gutter, fill it with potting mix, and sow your peas along it in a row. When they're ready to go out, you dig a shallow trench in the bed, hold the gutter over it, and slide the whole row of seedlings straight in, soil and all, in one smooth movement. The roots hardly know they've moved. It works a treat for peas, and just as well for lettuce and other salad leaves you want to raise in a row and shift out quickly. Number 10 is a seasonal one, so tuck it away for the right time of year. After the holidays, when Christmas trees are being cleared out, save some of the trim branches. Those twiggy branching pieces make superb free supports for peas, and for sweet peas too. You just push them into the soil among your young plants and let the tendrils grab hold. Ask a neighbor or check your local recycling point in early January, and you'll often come away with as many as you can carry. Gardeners have used pea sticks like this for generations, long before anyone sold plastic netting for the job. The 11th hack is less a trick and more a change of habit, and I'll be honest that this one's my opinion as much as anything, though it's an opinion I hold strongly. Instead of drawing up one big planting plan for the whole year, think month by month. When you look at the garden a month at a time, it's far easier to see where a gap is about to open up, so you can have the next crop already coming along, ready to drop into that space the moment you harvest what's there. Do that, and you can get 2, sometimes 3, harvests out of the same patch of ground in a single season. It also, and this matters more than people admit, simply feels more manageable. A month is something the mind can hold. A whole year, all at once, tends to sit there and quietly overwhelm you. Number 12 is an old technique for getting carrots and parsnips to come up reliably, which is a job that defeats a lot of good gardeners. Both are slow to germinate and hate drying out even for a day while they're at it. So here's the method. Sow your row, water it, and then lay a plain wooden board flat over the top. The board holds the moisture in and keeps the temperature under it steadier, which is exactly what those seeds want. You'll sometimes hear this credited to the permaculture teacher Bill Mollison, though in truth it's far older than any one gardener. What matters is that it works. Now, the one thing you must not forget: start checking under the board after about a week, and the moment you see seedlings pushing through, take it off. Leave it on too long, and those little seedlings will come up pale and leggy, reaching for a light that isn't there. Lift it in time though, and you also spare them the slugs at their most vulnerable moment. The 13th one always makes people smile, because the seeds come from your kitchen cupboard. A good many of the dried peas and beans sold for cooking will actually grow. Dried peas in particular, the marrow fat sort, can be sown indoors or out and give you a genuine crop, not just pods, but pea shoots too, which are a lovely thing scattered through a salad. Soak them first, anywhere from an hour to overnight, to help them get going. I'll be honest that it's a bit of a gamble. Some dried legumes are split, or too old, or treated in ways that stop them sprouting, so you won't get everyone coming up. But when the seed is essentially free, it's a gamble well worth taking, and it's a nice way to trial a crop before you spend on proper seed. And the 14th, to finish, is about the paths between your beds. Many tree surgeons and arborists are glad to give away wood chip for nothing, because it saves them a trip to the dump. Lay it down thick as pathways around your growing area, and it does two jobs at once. It's a clean, soft surface to walk on, and it keeps the weeds down, and then after a year or two, once it's broken down into lovely dark crumbly stuff, you can scoop it up and use it to mulch your beds and containers. Then you top the paths back up with fresh chip and start the cycle again. 2 words of care though. Get your chip from a source you trust, and let it age before you use it near plants, because fresh chip dug into soil can tie up nitrogen for a while and leave your crops hungry. On top of the ground though, and given a little time, it's about as useful a free material as you'll find. So there you have it, 14 ways to keep your costs down and still grow well. And I'll leave you where I started. The point of this was never to hand you a checklist of 14 chores. It's to give you a shelf of options you can reach for as you need them. So pick just one, the one that suits your garden and your week, and give it a proper go. If it earns its place, keep it. If it doesn't, you've lost nothing but a little time, and you've learned something about your own patch, which is worth having either way. I'd love to know which one you're going to try first, so tell me down in the comments. And if you've got a free, sensible hack of your own that served you well over the years, share it, because I'm always glad to learn a new one. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you again soon.